Should there be college football this fall?
There shouldn't and there won't. Whether or not they start their season, and I'm skeptical about that. I told you, a 0% chance they finish. This has always been taken. We had Dabo Sweeney on. Dabo, why do you think there's going to be college football? Just pure faith. That's all, just pure faith. Belief in the absence of information. And that's really what this has always gone on. I don't think there's going to be college at all. Let me say again, as a parent of children who I have them in private schools in New York, like in elementary school and junior high school, it does not look like, except for maybe kindergarten, there will be classes this fall. That's for kids. There's going to be college classes that aren't online. I know some universities are planning on trying before the cold weather, but which is going to hit in the fall, which is going to coincide with flu season. There's no vaccine in sight, let alone a vaccination, meaning scaling up the vaccine. How are they going to play this? Now, I don't blame the SEC for postponing decisions that are irrevocable, right? Like, before you cancel things, let's see how, like, what's the harm in waiting? I understand that. It's huge business and also very important emotionally to people, so I understand waiting until the very last second before you call it off. But I just don't see how they pull it off, certainly not to completion. I don't even think they start, guys.
Max, I get where you're coming from. I don't blame you for how you feel one bit. And for the most part, I agree with you. But I'm going to lean on Paul Finebaum to decipher what I'm about to say and tell me the plausibility of it all, because I simply don't know. Let me say this to you, Max. You're absolutely right, because all things are unequal. But let's just strictly confine ourselves to the conferences, the universities that actually make money off of football, okay? Because we know there's a whole bunch of folks out there that do not. And as a result, it's just not worth the risk. We get that. But when we talk about the Pac-12, the SEC, the Big Ten, the list goes on, those conferences that make money, that football really generates some revenue for them, it's actually plausible that you could pull it off if you adopt the same mentality that the NFL is going to. First of all, let's stop lying and treating them like amateurs when they're not. Football is big business. If you generate money, you've got to remember there are those athletes out there who aspire to get paid, and as bad as it may sound, coming from some of the environments that some of these folks come from, you're going to find situations where parents even are going to endorse them taking the risk, as long as there's some kind of bubble atmosphere that can be created. Because you're going to look at the NFL and say they're doing it. Just because they're professionals don't mean they don't have parents and family members and loved ones who are not comfortable with the risk that they're taking. And so when you've got college athletes who are in a position to not only generate revenue for high-end universities, but also, or have high-end football programs, that is, but also because they have their own pro football aspirations, what I think the only way to pull it off is to have a bubble kind of atmosphere for those football programs. The student body, if they're doing classes on Zoom and they're not going to be in attendance, so be it, because we all know we don't see them showing up to games. We don't see universities really having crowds this upcoming season. But if you are a big-time college program and you can create a bubble kind of atmosphere, I think it's something that they could pull off. Will they do it? I doubt it, like Paul has educated me about on numerous occasions. They have no leadership in college football. There's a whole bunch of heads going on. We don't know. But I'm just saying that conceivably, if you have a few conferences who are desperate enough to actually have a season amongst themselves, it's something that they could pull off if they adopt whatever bubble atmosphere the NFL is going to try to adapt. That's all I've got for you, Paul. What do you say to that?
Stephen A., on the bubble, I think you're correct. And let me explain. Notre Dame has done this so far in voluntary workouts. They've kept everyone contained, and they haven't had any problems, where some schools I've heard have had as many as 40 and 50 players testing positive. And there's some theories out there that this is being done purposely. Yes, I said that. The herd mentality conversation comes right back into it. But I don't think it's plausible, because college football, as you have said, as we have said countless times, is a disaster area right now. There's no leadership. Even among the 5 Power 5 conferences who meet every morning on Zoom last week, you had one, Kevin Warren of the Big Ten, decide, you know what, I'm not waiting for anyone else. I am announcing today that we're playing conference only, assuming that we play. So there is a dysfunctionality in college football that has been warned about for many, many years, and on this program many, many times, and now it's finally come back to haunt the sport. The real issue in college football is keeping players on campus. A lot of players came back from break for the voluntary workouts, and what's the first thing they did? They go to a bar. And what's the second thing that happened? They get contaminated or test positive, I should say. So I don't think it's manageable. I mean, you know, Max's attitude is fine. He's probably going to be right. I am not opposed to what they're doing right now, and what they're really doing, Stephen A. and Max. They're waiting for the numbers to tell them what to do. I hear a different version every day. It wasn't even 3 weeks ago I heard an AD say, I think we're going to have full stadiums. I mean, that's the problem. The people in college athletics have been selling their fans a pile of manure here for about 4 months, and unfortunately, it's all coming back to haunt them.
Yep. You know what, guys? Here's the thing, Stephen A., and you've reflected this mentality at times on the show, like eventually people are going to want to get back to something, right? If the government isn't sending checks, what are people supposed to do, sit home and starve? They want to get back. But this whole message, especially in an election year, by politicians, and it's filtered down to industries like, which is an industry, obviously, college sports, and especially college football. You have to understand, it doesn't work that way. Oh, we'll open it up and will our way through it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.